Hello, fellow mysticists. Today we are looking at the card of Justice. I have chosen Justice as the next card because in the earlier decks it was right after the card of the Chariot, maybe to implicate that justice will be served after your conquest, one way or another. But the Rider-Waite-Smith deck put it further down the line, and the modern tarot decks mostly this card is way after the Chariot, and the next card is usually Strength, but you will see that if we will check these numbers, we will see that there are several versions of this, so it's either right after the Chariot or later in the deck. The main reason for this change was that the Order of the Golden Dawn and the Masonic orders before them, if you remember, were these spiritual tools within a holistic system where the symbols of the tarot were associated with pre-Christianity, astrology, numerology, and so on. So, with the justice and the strength, the order decided that they should be switched to make them align with their astrological correspondence. So, in this case, the justice has this Venusian energy and is aligned with Libra, while the strength card will carry Martian and Leo energies. So, let's start with this, which we usually start with the Visconti-Sforza deck, and we can see Maria Visconti here with this twink Francesco Sforza, and you can see the original symbolism of the justice, the sword, and the scales. So justice is often this judge and executioner. So with the scales and the sword, also the sword symbolizes the sword of Solomon and Alexander the Great, perhaps. So if you don't know, Solomon's story was that one day he was sitting in court and two women came in with a child, both claiming him to be their son. Solomon offered a very simple solution, and I think he was hungry too or had enough for the day, because he said that if they cannot decide, he will willingly cut the boy in half so both can get their share. And of course, the real mother said she'd rather give his son away than to kill him. So the truth was out. With Alexander the Great, it might symbolize a story where he walked up to the knot in Gordia, which no one was able to untangle, and cut it with his sword, solving the problem. So, on one hand, it seems that men like to cut things in half as a solution, or I don't know, but oftentimes this judge and executioner symbolism is already here. Okay, let's see the Rider-Waite-Smith card. You see that the sword is pointing up, so it can be the judgment of the heaven, and the scale is pointing down, which can symbolize that the laws of society will decide the judgment here. So this is very similar in one way to the magician, where we established that the whole posture of the magician is like as above so below, but this is more like, it's like a double meaning, because on one hand justice will be served from the other world, or from heaven, or whatever system you believe in, but this is like karma, and the scales are like, even though karma exists, and even though heaven or the universe or whatever will do whatever it takes to be fair or balance the scales, these scales are about the jurisdictional framework of society. So whatever karma will bring to you, you have to abide the law. So this is heavenly and earthly justice. Okay, let's see. We usually go with the Egyptian one, and this is interesting because, well, this Egyptian deck has nothing to do with Egyptian mythology. I think I've said it in almost every video, but there is this female ruler with a skeet and a scale, of course, but behind her there's this wind creature. I don't know if you can see her with the vulture above his head, and the goddess of justice in Egyptian mythology is Maat. And we usually see her in a very different posture and position, but the vulture is not really a symbol of her. She has I think she has a viper on her head, so it's a royal symbol for establishing that she is ruling over the law and over justice. But you can get the general meaning of this card. It's just the aesthetics that are Egyptian, and maybe yes, we can see, or we can say that this one is Maat, or an avatar of Maat. But I don't see her on this card, or not in the way that she is usually can be seen in several artistic depictions. Okay, let's see the other one. Okay, let's see Tarot of the Divine. This one is it's a Korean, I wouldn't say legend because I don't know enough of the background of these characters, but this is someone called the Royal Inspector, or Amengosa. I hope I pronounce it correctly. And they are secret royal inspectors, so they are like the Sherlock Holmes of the Korean court, and they are the secret police, detectives of the secret police. And if you see this in his hand, this is called, I think it's called a mappe, which is a horse requisition tablet. So if he shows up, he can just show it to anyone and can take their horse under the royal edict. So they are detectives, and they are working for the court, and they are serving justice. So they are literally looking for, I don't know, shady figures. They are solving mysteries, and they are serving judgment. Okay, let's see the Prisma Tarot. Okay, I will put this a little bit further, and this one too. Okay, so the Prisma Tarot is, well, it's very forthcoming. So we had justice in this one. Now, I don't know if you can see that the snake here is biting into the hand, and the hand is bleeding, so it reaches for the sword that is already cutting this snake in half. Or you can see it in reverse, so this hand was cutting the snake in half, either from, I don't know, being judgmental or something like that, but taking judgment into their own hands, and the snake in its death is biting the hand that's cutting him. So it's, if you see this flow of energy here, it's like cutting something in half, cutting energies in half. That is interesting, Cal, because you can see it in two different ways, but what is important, that justice will be served. So whoever was the aggressor will be punished. Yeah. Very nice. Yeah. Okay. So let's see, Tarot of the Modern Witch, which is not very different from the previous ones. I think the only difference, of course, the clothes and the style, but you can see these drapes here, and I think we have seen this with the high priestess. I think that looked like being on a photo shoot, and back then I said that the high priestess is guarding the knowledge of spiritual mysteries and witchcraft or whatever, and that still it looked performative. So, and this drape here is also looks performative, like she's sitting there but she's not, I don't know, because the symbolism is here but the feeling is not there. So it almost feels like online social justice warriors who are laying judgment on everyone and everything, but in real life they are not acting accordingly, or they are not doing any real activism. They are just in the discourse, and they are, I don't know, maybe if this would be in reverse, I would say that this is exactly like someone who is just performing being just and being there for others or for a cause. But here, well, let's accept that this is the original justice card, and only the clothes and the background changed. But I don't know, something about this feels performative. Yeah, and see this one, I didn't show this, but this one here is also the 11th, so it's not right after the chariot in this deck. Okay, most of these are putting strength before, and you can see that this is directly the I don't know, the effect of the original Rider-Waite-Smith. Yeah, I'll pull out this just a bit bent. Okay, so let's see the Hush Tarot with this justice, and well, this is a walk. So you see these insects, bees, and ants walking with justice. And she has two weapons. I don't know if you can see this perfectly, but this here is an arrow, and she's mostly naked, but this is an arm hand, and she is carrying, I don't know, sky, something like that. I don't know, but another weapon. So this is about being executioner. She is not waiting for, I don't know, it's not a court hearing where she can hear people's problems and she can make justice. This is her literally walking into the troubled area, and she is bringing justice. So it's more about the executioner style. It's interesting that there are two different insects here. There might be something behind this, but I don't see it at first. Yeah, if I find anything out, I will check. First, the guidebook. Usually, I don't think I've mentioned this before, but usually I try to check these cards purely based on not just intuition. I check the artistic style. I check whatever historical or mythical event can be seen in these cards, or what are the connections to these legends or folklores or anything like that. And I don't usually check the guidebook, because most of the guidebooks are just about the general meaning of these cards, and many of them are especially intuitive cards. So it's up to you how you depict these cards or understand these cards. And I think it's better if I try to solve them in real time in these videos than just memorizing all the guidebooks and so on, because they can be misleading in a way, not on purpose, but I think that many of these decks are created like they are checking the general meaning of these cards, and whatever feels like them, they try to bring it into this card. So usually you have the symbolism of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, and sometimes you just get like with other cards, okay, how do I show and how do I depict like justice in a card? So it's more about the artwork than the symbolism, but sometimes they just mix. And I think it's better to try to solve it first. And if you are a card reader or interested in tarot, I think it's much better to make your own depiction of the cards in a deck than just memorizing. Well, memorize the general meaning if you want to use these cards for divination or for just fun. But oftentimes it's like with dreams, so you cannot really pull a dream dictionary from your bookshelf or look it up on the internet, because symbolism is different for everyone. So for example, sorry for going off the rails with this, but for example, if you see a bat in your dream and you are afraid of bats, of course this will mean something very different than to someone who loves bats or works with them, and so on. So this is like, if you have a heavy conscious, then justice will trigger things for you or for the one you are reading for. And sometimes these cards are just cute. So I think you get the general meaning too. Of course, you have to know what justice means, but justice, on the other hand, means different things to everyone. So sometimes these cards can mean, I don't know, real life judgment, being judged by others, by the community, or being judged by literally in court. And it can also mean karma, and just that whatever you reap, you will sow. Or the other way? I don't know. Okay, so back to the cards. So this is the Tarot of Mugi with this very cute, well, let's say mouse. And you can see that this is not really different than the previous one. So the sword is here, the scales are here, and this little mouse is just very happy to tell his opinion to everyone and shout real justice. But I think the crown is very interesting. I don't think that we have seen it on... No. The original Justice card has it. So, well, it's very royal. So it can be... It's more about judgment of the ruler, so of the king, the emperor, or anything, rather than the goddess Justitia. Yeah, it's more about the king rules according to the laws of heaven and earth, and of course this is a medieval thing, but this is it. This is what we can see here. Okay, let's see. Ambison's animal deck or Oriens deck. Sometimes you can find it under that name, which is an owl with scales and a sword, and I think this is the earth and the sun behind it, so the celestial and the earthly judgment. Well, I don't see any more symbolism here, but this is very straightforward in this way, and the artwork is Sorry, it's very beautiful here. Okay, I think I just swallowed some dust. Sorry for that. Okay, let's see. The Lunalapin. This is still the same, except that while I really like these very serious bunnies here, this is more about the judgment of a priest. See this scarf and this throne behind him. It feels like... Okay, the drapery is back, and I think I couldn't see this before. So maybe that's why the modern witch tarot felt performative, but this is the same. And this is the same in a way that the high priestess was literally sitting between two columns, and I don't remember that the emperor or the empress oftentimes was sitting between two pillars. So, but these are not the pillars of Solomon's temple, although Solomon with his sword can be felt here. Okay, there's something about this. So the drapery, well, the drapery is red in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck as well, which is a royal color, but not the color of the priesthood, which is purple. So it's gold and red. Yeah, so it feels more about the judgment of a priest here, but oftentimes justice is not about... it's about the balance of heavenly and earthly rules and laws. Most likely earthly, because there's more emphasis on the scales and the sword. But this is reverse. Okay, let's see the oak, ash, and thorn. The sword is here, the crown is here, the scales. Well, the scales are here on these rocks and little pebbles. And of course, the wolf is very regal in here, so this is like the king of the forest here. Yes, this is the alpha predator of the forest. And in this case, this is a wolf who rules and judges. But there's nothing aggressive about this. Well, wolves are very good for the ecosystem in the wildlife. So this is not about feeding more or eating more or hunting more. This is about the balance of the ecosystem, and wolves are really good at bringing balance into the ecosystem. If you are interested, you can check on several studies where they reintroduced wolves into national parks. I think they were doing this in the US as well as in several European national parks. But in Europe here, national parks are much smaller and much closer to agriculture and urban areas. So even though we finally have some wolves in the mountains, these mountains are often crossed with tourist lines and trails that are often used by dog walkers. So, well, there are issues and conflicts with them, but fortunately, wolves are not really coming into the villages, and really they are territorial, but they are very careful as well. So they are really really good for the ecosystem. Okay, and let's see another justice with the Anima Mundi, and of course the king of the animals, supposedly the lion. You see the columns and the drapery. and the sword, but not the scales. Well, maybe the drapery can be seen as a scale form, maybe. What I like about this card that this lion maybe doesn't have the scales because they are acting according to the laws of nature and their nature. So that's why the stars are emphasized here. They don't have earthly laws or rules and laws between them, between the pack, because everybody has its place. Yeah, so this was justice. And if you are a minor, thank you for being here. You can check out the video, like and subscribe if you liked it. And if you are an adult, please stay for the last 3 cards with 18 plus content. Okay, so for the ones who are still here, let's first see the Decameron deck, which is, well, nice. Where the scales are here, the scales are between the ionic and the masculine folic energies. You can see it with these very emphasized genitals on both sides. And she is keeping the balance between the two. So she has the scales. She is holding the scales, but not the sword. But there are many, many dead people under her. So the meaning doesn't really change. I'm just trying to think that without the sword, without being the executioner, it is like justice will prevail. So you cannot really go around justice, or you can end up like these folks down here. This is just a cheeky depiction of justice. This is a nice picture, by the way, and here we see that justice is blind. I don't think that we have seen it in previous decks. But of course, justice is blind. It's not like love is blind. The justice is about being equal in front of the law. Well, this pronunciation was terrible. Sorry for that. Yeah. Okay, let's see the Tarot of Sexual Magic. She's cute. Justice is cute. She's like, I don't know if these wings are hers. Maybe she looks like a fairy. The swords here, I think this is the tilt. You call it the tilt, is snake. And in the scales there are, I think these are figs. I can see some raspberries. So it's just delightful food. And she's just waiting. She's not taking action. It's like she's listening to someone. And yes, she will serve justice. You can get some treats from the scales, or you can meet the sword. She's like a fairy. It's almost like she is some Shakespearean character. Unfortunately, I can't remember. Of course, it's on the tip of my tongue, that play, but I don't know the original English title. It's about Midsummer's Eve. But you know what I mean. So it's like she's literally the character here. Maybe Justice appears in that play. Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure, but I'll check this and I will let you know in the edited version. And let's see finally the Tarot V or Vampire, which is, yes, it's a vampire deck, and In this one, I don't know if you can see it, maybe it's too dark, but this is like a full-grown Nosferatu in front of the crumbled statue of justice. So in a way, you see that the skull is broken, the sword is broken, the statue is fallen, so there might be no justice in the world. And since this card and this deck is all about shadow work in real life, this might mean that you are either triggered by justice because you try to literally justify things you do for yourself and trying to go around the traditional rules and the common rules of the group, or it can mean that you have to become justice. If you don't see justice in the world, you have to become justice. This is like a vigilante card. Well, of course, you have to be careful with that, but yes, it's like if you don't see in the world what you want to see, you have to create it. And of course, I'm not saying that, okay, if you get this card, you have to be a vigilante, but sometimes you have to take action into your own hands and you have to judge for yourself instead of letting others judging the situation or you in it. You have to know your own truth. I think this card is about this. Okay, this was for this video. And if you would like more, just like and subscribe, and you will know if I make another upload. Sorry for being so slow. It was a very, very long day, and I wanted to make, I think, 2 more videos today. I don't know if I will be capable of, but if you see that in the next 1 or 2 videos I am very slow, then this is why I'm really slow. But I wanted to make as much videos as I can. So like and subscribe, you will know when I upload another video. So hit that bell and like button, and thank you for being here, and see you at the next video. Bye.